Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the Tier 9 Pan-Asian destroyer, the Chung, or essentially the Fletcher copycat. But anyway, let's actually take a look at the teams. We are playing on Warriors Path, playing Domination. We have a Ranger, Iowa, Tirpitz, Bismarck, Colorado, Duke of York, Rune, Atlanta, Yugamo, Chungmu, Mahan, and Akatsuki. On the enemy team, there is a Ranger, Missouri, Tirpitz, Bismarck, Colorado, Duke of York, Rune, Edinburgh, Algeria, Yugamo, Chungmu, and Agaja Mata. Now, I will have to say, the Chungmu is a much greater improvement over the Sin Yong. But as far as the stock is concerned, it's a little bit left to be desired, to say the very least. Now, we are going to try to cap C. As you can see, we do have 4 destroyers to their 3, so might as well try to cap C. Now, normally I would not recommend this, but since we're over here, we can at least try to capture C. Now, my captain on my Chungmu does have RDF, so this is going to prove very beneficial. But let's actually talk about the ship itself. As I did point out, it is essentially the Fletcher repurposed with deep water torpedoes. And these deep water torpedoes, well, stock version is not the greatest thing in the world. They do have a 9.2 kilometer, so essentially they are the Sin Yong's torpedoes. And in chat, people are complaining about CVs. Yes, for whatever reason today, there was a lot of CVs on. But anyways, so torpedoes are deep water torpedoes. They have a low detectability. They have a 9.2 kilometer range. The only downside for these stock torpedoes is the fact that they are horrendously slow. Now, you will see 2 benefits, or 2 things about this. One's a benefit and one's obviously a downside of it. Missouri pops up and Rune pops up. Now, the Chungmu actually has a 5.7 kilometer detect, which is superbly awesome. Now, I really don't want to get close to that Missouri. Missouri obviously does have radar, and that Rune's a little bit too close for my liking. So I am going to take really big steps in the other directions to try to keep myself out of the radar range. But I am very close to capping, so I'm going to try to slow up and finish capping out. There we go. Now, those torpedoes on the Missouri are not going to hit. Rune, however, well, like I said, had the torpedoes, well, so close. Almost got this Rune, but he actually slows up just in time. That was very fortunate for him. Now, as obviously, the deep water torpedoes are great against cruisers, battleships, and carriers. However, they are not so good against enemy destroyers, and that's the big issue with Pan-Asians, as this Chungmu is obviously experiencing, fighting against a Yugamo. Yugamo essentially torpedoes and is able to finish off the Chungmu with relative ease without any fear of torpedoes inbound. Now, that's a huge downside for the Pan-Asian destroyers, is just the inability to really do a lot of damage against destroyers very quickly. So I will have to say, you have to be very careful. You really do have to pick your perfect moments to engage. Now, we did drop torpedoes at the Missouri, kind of expecting him to turn north, maybe a little bit closer to that island, and try to capture C. Now, the good thing about these torpedoes is that they're slow. I know, shocking. I'm saying that's actually a good thing. Well, in this instance, it's actually a good thing. Those torpedoes are going to take a little bit longer than what they normally would expect them to actually arrive on time. That it's going to allow this Missouri to get close enough to actually where my torpedoes are able to, well, we'll see. We'll see. Alright, so Agaja Mata is having a really bad time. Enemy team is is pushing towards C, but I'm more interested in what's happening on the western side. So we have at least 4, maybe 5 ships over there, plus the Ranger. And we did get a torpedo hit on the Missouri. Once again, slow torpedoes were actually very beneficial there. but for whatever reason, our team is very hesitant pushing into A. There's no destroyers. Last location of the Gajamada and the Yugumo was on the side. Now, I did pop the smoke screen, going to try to help the Atlanta. Obviously, there is a Yugumo just popped up. And once again, the destroyers that are non-Pan-Asian can drop torpedoes on another destroyer. And more than likely, that Yugumo is dropping torpedoes. So I'm actually going to pull out and try to get maybe behind this island. Try to drop torpedoes in that channel. Maybe get lucky. And yes, looky there. There are the torpedoes. And this Gajamada is coming around at the wrong time. Now, the Yugumo did drop torpedoes, so we don't have to worry about them, which is very, very nice. We should be able to finish off this Gaja. There we go. Very, very nice. Now, the Yugumo, once again, did drop torpedoes, so we could probably push him, and we do have RTF. Now, once again, I really, really would be curious what's happening over at the ACAP, because we have Duke of York, there's an Iowa, I think there's a Colorado. Let's actually see. There's probably a Colorado and Tirpitz over there. There's no destroyer. There's no destroyers over there. However, they're very hesitant about pushing into A. Now, our Ranger is in a very close situation, I guess you could say, which is very beneficial because it does allow him to get his planes in. But this Yugumo is still right there. I was actually expecting him to run away and get some good hits. Now I'm gonna try to keep away from any possible torpedoes coming inbound, and unfortunately I'm going to run myself around, but we get the kill on the enemy Yugumo. It looks like currently we are being radared by the Missouri, I would believe, and well, I think we just need to be a little bit careful. Looks like this Missouri is probably running the duration module on that radar because it is lasting for a very long time. Maybe it's just me, but it seemed to last for a very long time. Now, the destroyer, as I did mention, obviously, it has quite a few benefits, especially considering stock, but it's just, I will have to say, once you take care of destroyers, fighting against other ships is very beneficial. You can deal a significant amount of damage whenever firing upon enemy ships. Now, I do have actually, I'm currently looking at that Bismarck, expecting him maybe going around that north side of the island. Atlanta is doing a fantastic job causing mayhem with his very small caliber guns. But we're gonna drop torpedoes, maybe get lucky. And here's the thing, had I waited maybe 1 or 2 more seconds, things would turn out a little bit differently, but we'll see. Now I am trying to see what that Bismarck is doing. Now I did drop those torpedoes hoping to hit that Bismarck, but we'll see what comes of them. Now once again, those torpedoes are very slow, as I have mentioned time and time again, and well, I just really wish I had waited an additional second. Maybe something else would have happened. But we are going to try to capture C, as the enemy team has definitely held A and C for quite a long time. But we are definitely ahead in points and ahead in ships. Now we are going to try to capture C, but maybe, let's see how these torpedoes are going. Are we going to get a hit? No. Had I waited 1 additional second, yeah, we would have got a hit, and we probably would have sunk that Missouri. But unfortunately for us, and fortunately for him, I guess he must have sacrificed something to the gods, to RNG gods. Well, technically not really RNG, but he was able to survive without taking any torpedo hits. Yes, I know. Getting the upgraded torpedoes would be extremely beneficial, but yeah, that was almost lucky of us. But we're gonna try to head back to B. So unfortunately we didn't get those torpedo hits, but we're gonna try to get turned around and try to cap out as quickly as possible. And let's see, this Missouri is going to go down to the hellfire of the Atlanta and the Turbines, and we're going to try to get back and try to help out against this Bismarck and this Duke of York. Now, in my defense of what's about to happen, I forgot, and I know this is sad, but I don't always play against the Duke of York, nor do I actually play the Duke of York very often. The Duke of York is actually one of the few battleships that is German that has hydro. I believe it's actually technically the only one that has hydro that's not a German battleship. And this is going to bite me in the butt, as you will obviously see in a moment. Now I'm going to try to help out the Atlanta once again with smoke, because the Chung has so much smoke. This is what, about 12 minutes into the battle, and we still have 4 charges left. So I'm going to try to help out our friendly little Atlanta with some smoke so he can actually get some shots off and maybe deal more damage. Now, in retrospect, if I could go back to this time right now, I probably would have continued heading south. But obviously the enemy team is well aware that there is a destroyer. I did pop smoke. Probably not overly needed. Maybe probably should have just tried to, do this on my own. But I thought I'd be a team player and try to help out this friendly Atlanta. Now the Duke of York does have hydro. And I, once again, should have just headed south. Yeah. Should have headed south, and now this Duke of York is starting to come in at us and is probably going to be running hydro. Let's see. Actually, it's not the Duke of York. It's actually... Oh, nope. There it is. Alright, torpedoes once again. Really slow. So exceptionally slow. Now, I really wish I had fired one off at the Bismarck and one off at the Duke of York. But we'll see. Torpedoes are on their way. Duke of York opens up with surprise, HE, and this Duke of York is obviously turning away as quick as possible. And I make a silly maneuver into the island. But we get a torpedo hit, get some damage, and yeah, unfortunately, we now have a Bismarck moving on our position, and things are not looking good. But we do have a smoke in about 16 seconds. But obviously, we're the only target they can actually technically shoot at, and are probably going to go down. We have 3 seconds. Can we get our smoke off before? Nope. Unfortunately, no, we cannot, and that is the end for me. But I picked this match for the sole reason as to what you're going to be expecting for the Chung and how it kind of operates whenever fighting against enemy destroyers, against other battleships, and what to kind of expect with its torpedoes as far as stock. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and jump into port. I will see you guys there. Alright, everyone, welcome back to the port, and the Chung, I will have to say, it's an improvement over the Shenyang quite a bit. I would say the Chung is really where the Pan-Asian destroyers really kind of picks up, besides obviously the Gajamada, but you kind of get the better feeling for what the Pan-Asian destroyers are really good at. And I have to say, I will say that the stock version of the Chung is extraordinarily difficult to reliably hit with your torpedoes. As you did see there in the battle, very difficult to actually reliably hit with your torpedoes. Still does decent damage. The guns are decent. Maneuverability on stock is a little bit slow, as you did see. I careened into the island. So yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect ship at stock, but that's kind of what to be expected. Health is kind of on the lower side, 14,800 as per usual, stock is generally not the greatest as far as tankiness, but health is definitely a little bit lower than compared to some of the other tier 9s. The guns are actually decent. Fletcher style guns, you have 5 single 127 millimeters. They have a reload time of 3.3 seconds. Turn times on the gun is 5.3 seconds. Very quick to get turned around. Max HE damage is 1800 with the 5.5% fire chance. Now, I don't always get to see a lot of fires, and that's kind of aggravating at times because you would expect decent fire chance, especially with the high reload rate of your guns, but it just doesn't seem to really want to stick whenever you're shooting at enemy ships. Max HP damage is 2100, and every so often I will switch over to AP, but I don't know. I just haven't had the best of luck using AP. As per usual, the shell velocity is very lofty, 792 meters per second. Range is decent, 11 kilometers, so you have a decent size range. You can definitely shoot at targets at long distance. Obviously, does require a bit of practice to actually land it. Moving on to the torpedoes. They are essentially the Shenyang's torpedoes. They have a 93.3 second reload time. They do around 16,633 points of damage, and they have a 9.2 kilometer range with a 0.7 kilometer detectability by sea. So good range, good damage, and low detectability. What could be wrong with these torpedoes? Well, obviously, they're Shenyang torpedoes. They have a 55 knot speed. And as you saw against that Duke of York, well, yeah, they are slow. The only thing I will have to say, as you did see dropping those torpedoes at that Missouri, because of their slow speed, does allow enemy ships to get a little bit closer than what you would normally expect. So they're more likely to hit a ship at distance that's pushing in than the upgraded torpedoes. So that's the only thing I could say. But as per usual, they are deep water torpedoes, and they won't hit any enemy destroyers, which is not very good because that's usually your ace in the hole when combating enemy destroyers. Moving on to AA defense, you have 6 single 20 millimeters. They have a 22 average damage with 2 kilometer range. Then you have 3 dual 40 millimeters. They have an average damage of 34 with a 3.5 kilometer range. And then your main guns offer additional AA. Average damage is 54 with a 5 kilometer range. So, not bad. You can shoot down some planes, but it's nothing compared to the Fletchers, and the Fletcher does get the possibility of defensive AA, while you do not. Maximum speed on the Chung is decent, 38 knots. Obviously not the quickest tier 9, but decent. Turning circle radius is kind of bigger. It's about 40 meters bigger than the Shenyang, 620 meters. Rudder shift time is slow, 5.5. Obviously, once you get the hull upgrade, that will reduce it down to around 3.5 seconds. Concealment is nice, 5.7 kilometers, so very sneaky, very beneficial. Detectability range by air is 3.3, and while firing in smoke is 2.7 kilometers. So nice sneaky ship, which is actually very beneficial because you're actually about 100 meters sneakier than the Fletcher. So you do have some benefit. That's kind of the nice thing about the Shenyang's Pan-Asian destroyers. As far as the 8, 9, and 10 are concerned, they have better detectability compared to their U.S. counterparts. So is very nice to actually have. As far as upgrades, especially when you are going through the Chung, don't know why I keep saying Shenyang, Chung, I would highly recommend get the torpedo upgrades first. This will increase your damage as well as what am I doing? Moving on to the upgrades. First off, as per normal, fairly standard for what I would say you should see on your destroyer. Nothing really has changed as far as the upgrades. The only new upgrade that you can get is this one. And this one I did get the Torpedo Tubes Mod 3 and not the main battery Mod 3. The reason is because your torpedoes are actually really good. Once they're obviously fully upgraded, they hit pretty hard and they are pretty fast. So I highly recommend getting this just to have your torpedoes set up and ready to go a little bit quicker. Moving on to the captain. My captain is almost a 19-point captain. Hopefully I can get him up to 19 points before I move on to the Yu Yang. But as per usual, I enjoy Priority Target. I really recommend it. Last Stand. Then I have actually shifted from what would normally be on this captain. I went for Torpedo Armament Expertise. Obviously, this reduces the reload time of your torpedoes by 10%. Concealment Expert and RDF. RDF is very beneficial, or radio location, I guess is technically what it's called. Does definitely allow you to help determine where ships are coming from and less likely to get surprised. Last Stand as per usual, and then for the last 3 points I will be getting Survivability Expert just to increase the health pool on the destroyer, but we'll eventually get there. But anyways, this is going to be it for this episode of World of Warships. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.